I didn't find out about the affair from a text message. I didn't catch them together. I found out 3 years after it ended, from an old cracked tablet in a storage box I almost threw away. The chat inside had 4 names: Sophia, Marcus, and 2 I never expected. My own sister Ava, and my wife's best friend Elena. What I read inside erased everything I thought I knew about my life. Before I tell you what was in that chat, understand what these 4 people meant to me. Sophia was my wife. Marcus was my closest friend since university. Ava was my younger sister, the person I had protected my whole life. Elena was always around, dinners, holidays, always smiling. They were not on the edge of my world. They were the center of it. All 4 of them were lying. Sophia and I married when I was 33. She was 30. I was in project management, she worked in marketing. We had a good apartment, a real routine, a future we had planned together. I was not naive, I was invested. When you believe in something completely, you stop looking for cracks. I trusted her completely. Our circle was tight. Marcus had been my closest friend since university, at our wedding, in our photos, at our table every few weeks. Elena had been Sophia's best friend since childhood, always close, always present. I saw her as part of the family. I saw all of them that way. I was wrong about every single one of them. Then there was Ava. 28, 15 minutes away, close to Sophia in a way I was proud of. I always believed that if Ava ever saw something wrong in my marriage, she would come to me first. She was my sister. I was the person she trusted most. That belief was the foundation of everything that came next. The affair began in the 3rd year of our marriage. Sophia went to a work conference for 4 days. Marcus was presenting at the same event, or so I was told. I didn't question it. Why would I? What I didn't know was that the trip was not a coincidence. It had been coordinated. And someone had helped coordinate it. Ava found out 3 months later, by accident. She was using Sophia's phone when a message from Marcus came through. Explicit. No explanation could contain it. Ava confronted Sophia directly. Sophia begged her to stay quiet, told her it was over, that it had been a mistake, that telling me would destroy the family. Ava agreed to say nothing. Sophia told Ava the version that was easiest to accept: it was over, it was a mistake, staying quiet was the compassionate choice. She used the word protect. She told my sister that protecting me meant keeping me blind. I think Ava genuinely believed that for a while. The chat logs would later make that much harder to hold. Elena had known from the beginning she was not pulled in reluctantly. She helped arrange the trip. She was Sophia's first alibi. When Sophia said she was staying at Elena's on a Tuesday night, Elena confirmed it to anyone who asked. The chat logs showed Elena did not stumble into this secret. She helped architect it from the first week it existed. For 3 years, they held the silence. The affair ended, the cover did not. Every question I asked Ava got filtered back to Sophia first. I remember telling Ava one evening that Sophia seemed distant. Ava looked me in the eye and said, "She's just overwhelmed at work, Ethan. Don't read into it." I believed her. I stopped reading into it. The first crack came from Tyler, my younger brother. He mentioned offhand having seen Marcus's car outside our building late one night, 2 years prior. He assumed Sophia had told me. He was telling a parking story, nothing more. But something shifted in my chest. I didn't say anything. I filed it. And I started paying attention to things I had been comfortable ignoring. Tyler is my youngest sibling, 27, the kind of loyal that does not need to announce itself. When I went back to him weeks later and asked exactly what he had seen, he told me without hesitation. Marcus had left our building at midnight. Sophia had walked him to the door. She had seen Tyler through the car window and looked away fast. The tablet was Sophia's old one. She had upgraded years ago and left it in a storage box. The screen was cracked. I almost threw it out. Something made me turn it on instead. It booted slowly. The chat app was still logged in. I searched Marcus's name first. Found what I feared. Then I searched for Ava. That was the moment everything changed. The group was named Girls. 3 participants: Sophia, Ava, Elena. I scrolled back 3 years and read for 4 hours without moving. What I found was not just confirmation of the affair. It was a complete operational record. Dates coordinated. Alibis constructed. My private questions reported into that group and answered together before Sophia replied to me alone. They had a system. It had run without failure for 3 years. There was a message from Ava. He asked me again if you seemed happy. I told him you were just tired. From Elena, if he brings up the hotel receipt, say it was a work dinner I attended, I will confirm. There was a thread where Sophia asked them to delete photos from the shared cloud album before I could open it. Both helped. They coached. They confirmed. They chose actively, for 3 years. What broke me was not the affair. It was reading Ava's messages. Ava, who cried with me when I worried about my marriage. Who told me she was always in my corner. In that chat, she relayed my private fears back to Sophia so they could be managed before they reached me. She was not protecting me. She was managing me. Elena's involvement was colder. More deliberate. She treated the whole thing like a project: contingency plans, prepared responses. At one point she wrote, "He is not the type to hire an investigator. He trusts too much." She wrote that about me. She was right. And she banked on it for 3 years. That sentence decided everything about what I did next. I confronted Sophia without warning. I placed the tablet on the table between us, screen on, and sat down without a word. She read. I watched the color leave her face. She began, "I can explain," and I cut her off. "The only thing I want to know is when you were planning to tell me." She had nothing. Just silence. I picked up the tablet and left the room. Marcus I did not confront in person. One message: I know everything. Do not call. Do not come here. He called 7 times that night. I let every call go. The message I wanted to send Marcus was not in words, it was in the silence. The version of me that trusted him without question was gone. That was the only thing I needed him to understand. Ava came over when I called her. She did not know what was coming. She sat down and I asked one question: "Did you know about Sophia and Marcus?" She paused just a half second too long and said no. I put the phone on the table with her messages visible. She looked at it. Then she cried. I got up and walked to the window. I did not recognize her. Elena was last. She worked in HR at a mid-sized company. I sent an email with 3 screenshots: the alibi she constructed, the message where she called me too trusting to check, the thread where she helped delete the photos. I copied her supervisor. Not out of cruelty. Elena had used professional instincts to protect a personal lie for 3 years. That made it a professional matter. The divorce was fast. Sophia did not contest it. I think she knew that any fight would require explaining the full record to people who had not seen it, and she was done managing exposure. She moved out. The social circle she had built quietly dissolved, because it had been constructed around a marriage that no longer existed. People stopped calling. One by one, quietly. Ava's consequences were slower. She told our parents herself, said she could not carry it anymore. My mother did not speak to her for 3 months. My father, who had always held Ava as his most trusted child, told her he needed distance. That silence from him was the weight she had spent 3 years avoiding. The moment she feared most still came. It just waited. Elena resigned 2 weeks after the HR review opened. She had used company email and professional tools to run a personal cover-up for years. The firm could not ignore the documentation. She reached out once through a mutual contact asking me to drop the complaint. I did not respond. You build the architecture of a lie with that kind of precision, you live in its ruins. The hardest part was not the confrontations. It was the silence after, sitting with the shape of what I had not seen. not the affair. I could have recovered from the affair alone. What I could not recover from was the structure around it. The people who chose the lie over me not once in a moment of weakness, but hundreds of times across 3 years. That is not a mistake. That is a decision. And once you understand that, you stop asking why. Tyler never knew any of it until I told him. He sat with me in silence for a long time. Then he said, "You did not lose your family. You found out where your family actually was. Some people are loyal because they love you. Some are loyal because they have never been tested. And some perform loyalty while working against you right until you find out." If this story hit you, smash that like button right now. Subscribe and turn on the bell. New karma drops every single week. Drop karma in the comments. Would you forgive your own sister? I read every single comment.